Off YouTube?
Okay.
Oh, it is on YouTube. Ooh.
You should be able to grab the link.
I sure can.
Uh,
Nice.
I don't want to do that. Not play it. That will be some feedback echoing. Okay, so it's going now. And let's just start. I'll just record it so recording and streaming. Kind of a pre-interview thing. So, what got you into? I kind of already know this, but what got you into video gaming and video game?
I I've been gaming since I was a little kid. Got a Nintendo 64 was my first one. Played a lot of Super Smash Bros. And stuff. And then, Sega, PS1. What really brought me in was Xbox. After I got the Xbox, I was hooked on it. I loved the system. And I just kept playing, and my mom kept playing with me and buying the 360 and up and everything. And then back before YouTube became a thing, I got really interested in it, but I was still in high school, so I didn't really pay attention to it. And then after I got out of high school, I looked into it a little bit more, and that's kind of when I started trying to make videos and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Really, I really need to focus on getting guests like you and people in with film and know the audio, because this is probably one of the better sounding interviews I'll have.
I'm set up, man. I was lucky enough to get a really nice mic I won it in like a contest. It's a HyperX mic, so it's like a $200 mic or something I would never have purchased for myself. But so I was lucky enough to get that, and then audio is a pain in the butt. Working with YouTube and trying to record with friends and everything like that, it is just abysmal to try and figure out. It doesn't nothing likes talking to each other for whatever reason. It's stupid.
So you record with friends, like so you explain like what do you record?
Well,
Or what game do you like the best, or what do you like the best?
I like the best what's easiest to record, really. So when my friend and I first started to make videos together, we recorded on the PS4, which so he had one, I had one, obviously, and we would try to play games together and then record it. But the problem was with the PS4, it has really weird audio settings. Like, if you plug a controller or plug a headset into the controller, then all the sound goes to the headset, everything, which screws it up when you're trying to record it, because it takes the sound from whatever you're trying to grab from. And then we play a lot of games on Xbox. All my friends, we game a lot, so we all have the same games on Xbox we like to play with each other. And then we have a couple PC games that we're getting into a little bit more, which is a little easier because with PC, everything's in one spot, so it's easier to capture everything if I want to. But I think I told you, I don't think I told you. On Saturday, we played a game called Phasmophobia, which is a co-op horror game that just came out in alpha, and it's a blast. So there's just a couple things that we play, yeah.
And I'm not coming. I'm looking to learn about. You said alpha. What is that? What is alpha exactly?
So when you create games, when a lot of people start making games and things like that, they have an alpha version, and basically it's really basic version of the game. It's ready, but they tell you it's an alpha, so you expect issues. So like bugs and audio issues and everything like that. And what they do is that once it hits alpha, They compile all that information together, and then they either release the game or they release a beta. And then all that information from those, they make it better and they work out the kinks and everything. And then they fully release it with no issues.
I got it. So I heard of things being in beta testing before. I've heard
Exactly.
of that, but I didn't. Like alpha sounds like it's the first one. It like the alpha male kind of thing.
It's weird. Usually things are in what's called a closed alpha, where you're invited to play it, and it's not, you don't purchase it or anything. Like you pre-order something, and then they invite you to the closed alpha because it's a really, it's a really choppy version of the game. And then once they get the information from the closed alpha, that's when they open it and make it a beta. So I don't really know why they did it differently with this game, but it worked great on Saturday. So I'm not really sure how long it'll be in alpha.
You got not too bad of a. I know it's doesn't maybe not look like much to you, but look, you got the red wall going in the back.
That's just paint. We in our room here we painted it. It's actually orange, just with the coloring. It does look red.
Still
but I
adds
did have
that look.
Yeah, I did have. Oh, they're still up. You can see the sound panels. So I actually have some of those.
Yeah, those. Yeah, I want to. That's what I was talking about.
They're super cheap. Well, they're like 10 to $20 or something for like a pack of, what is that, like 12, like 10 or something. So they're not too bad on Amazon. But of course, those are the Amazon products. I'm sure they're not the best quality.
Serves at least really two things for a functional sound purpose, and it adds a nice look.
It does.
So let's. I was thinking of going right deep into this, being something I saw a post you made a while back, and you went deep into something about issues, and I want to like go into that at first, but kind of start out slow against what I want to do. But when you think of video games and people playing video games, a lot of the mental issues that arise with they're stuck behind the game all day, teaching your brain how to do this and that. You're teaching your ego, this is good. This is, you can, if you can do this, you're good at it. How does, if I phrase this in a way, how does how do you do video games to serve you in a good way instead of spiraling down in the wrong direction?
How
does it help you?
That's a great question, because that is one thing any parent would be afraid of, because with the news, they only really focus on the bad cases where kids become obsessed with something. You only really ever hear about, people playing WoW, World of Warcraft, for like 10 days and dying because of it. That's all they capture. Gaming is an integral part of my life. And when I say that, I mean, I play video games. My wife plays video games. My kids play video games. It's a pastime. It's something that we like to do together as a family. I mean, I play Minecraft with my daughter. I play certain other games with my wife. It's a big thing. And when I come home after the kids go to bed and everything like that, how I like to relax is just playing a game, because the best part about it is that you can sit there in front of the screen and you can have time of your life, and the cogs don't have to move. So my job, I have to think a lot. And my job is, I'm a desk worker, but for the most part, it's mentally taxing. So when I come home, I don't want to think. So when I play games, I can just sit there and I can do stuff, but it's all it's just immediate. There's no turning up here. I can just enjoy myself. And when I was growing up, I mean, obviously I didn't play video games all the time. I still played outside, and so do my kids. Uh, it's definitely not something you should want to do, 10 hours a day or something like that, and not doing something else. Uh, I mean, besides Twitch streamers and stuff like that, who are obviously it's their job, that's a little bit of different mentality. But for example, if your kid is playing 10 plus hours a day and not doing schoolwork or anything like that, then obviously it's a problem. But
Yeah,
it's
unless you're a Twitch user going on, you're doing a job and you're having this marathon, maybe a whole weekend marathon, and then they'd be obviously on that kind of like a conference. Like I've been a part of those in the last few weeks, 2 at a time, back to back. I told you a little about that
yeah.
conference. I was sitting in 2 virtual back to back conferences, and I felt a little overwhelming with the first one about growing on YouTube and all. And then the second one was that Summon of Greatness replay speeches. Some I heard in person from last year, but a few others I didn't, and I'm glad I got to. I'm glad this happened. Like if 2020 like didn't happen the way it did, I wouldn't be able to see those replay of those speeches.
Mm-hmm.
But I was sitting in all those. I felt like I was just disconnected from the world, but I was just fully engaged in those conferences, and it was a lot to take in. A lot of, especially the second one's very inspirational stuff.
That's cool. It is weird to participate in those sort of things online because it's just kind of like the idea of working at home too. You're disconnected, you don't see people, but you talk to people, but you don't see them face to face or do anything with them, but you're still talking to them. It is really strange, the online world.
And the Grow with Video one too, it was just they'd done that even their first time to do anything virtual, and it was almost as if it was in person. They didn't, and they're a media company too, so I wouldn't expect them to struggle too much with putting on that virtual event. The other one, they're kind of a younger group, and they had one big glitch at the beginning when they were first doing it, and I think it was because the music they did, like the theme song that they used to introduce speakers, had copyright, and it got kicked off the YouTube stream, so they had to adjust. So, and they were a little newer because they're not so much a media company, they're life.
Right.
Lewis Howes, he's a life entrepreneur.
Oh,
lifestyle entrepreneur.
Yeah, I've heard that phrase get kicked around a little bit. That doesn't even make any sense to me.
Sean Cannell, he's up there. Think media company. So video. My neighbor kind of does the same thing. He's big on Twitch, video gaming, PC, and he has YouTube, and he edits all his streams when he goes on Twitch, puts them up on loops, kind of like what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through, like, what do you look for when you're you just cutting up your game streams?
Yeah,
and it's like highlights. Is it highlights of what you do?
So yeah, the best thing. There's a couple videos you can make. Really, you can do a highlight video, which think of it like a montage. If you ever gone on YouTube and watched like a Call of Duty montage or something, where you put music on it, and then you get a couple 6 shots of what people are doing, and then you make it look really cool and sound cool. So that's the best highlight idea. What I like to do is when you're streaming, mainly, there's a lot of dead air. Like, depending on who you watch, there's not a lot of interaction between the streamer and the audience because, the audience really talks to itself. The streamer can say things or do whatever, but it's like watching a movie, really. You're there talking to your friends while the movie is playing the game. So what I like to do is I take it, I download the video, and then I put it in my software, and I can see the audio, and I can see where they talk, and then I can see where it's just dead air. And so I cut out the dead air and focus on what they talk. And then the next part is to go through and find the funny parts. Like, did something funny happen in the game? Did they say something really funny? And it's time consuming because, I have to scrub through all that. I have to manually listen to everything they say. That way I know, oh, he told a good joke. I can leave that in the video, that sort of thing. So that's the main thing of what I like to do, because that's how I kind of taught myself on YouTube. Was the difference between streaming and YouTube, obviously, is with YouTube, you're only doing it for like 10, 15 minutes, depending on how long you want your video to be. And so I can talk, like personally, I can talk nonstop for, I would say, about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on if I have things I've thought about throughout the day. So I can talk nonstop, 20 to 30 minutes. And then I can go into the video, chop out a couple boring parts, maybe things I didn't really think anyone wants to hear, and then post that on YouTube. So that's what I would do. And it takes a lot of time to get to that point. When I first started, when you're sitting there and you're playing a game, it's really hard to think. It's really hard to just say stuff, if you're working or watching or doing something else, coloring, drawing, writing, you can't really easily talk while you're doing something. So in the beginning, I wasn't very good at it. There's a lot of dead air, but obviously over time, I was able to just talk and play the game and talk and not think, just spew out words. But that's the biggest difference, is that when you make a YouTube video, since it's so short, there's not a lot of dead air. But with Twitch, people stream for like 3, 4, 6 hours. And so in that span of time, there's a lot you need to cut out. And that's honestly what I enjoy doing, because I like shortening things up and making it, focusing on the highlights and making it funny.
The little gaming, I played a little Halo here and there. I actually have Xbox as well, so I'd have to like find you on Xbox one day.
Yeah.
And stop where we're going. What games? I know I saw Halo. Like, what other games maybe I should check out, and then I can play against you, or play, or how do you say it?
You can. I don't know if you've heard of Destiny 2 at all.
I have heard of it, yeah.
So I play that. I try anything. I like first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Halo. And then what kind of games do you like? Do you like first-person shooters? Do you like sports games?
Lately, like I've been into sports, but I do like the Halo. I love family, sister, cousin. We were big on N64 GoldenEye, so I do like the first-person shooters, playing those.
Yeah, there's just so many. I can't really give you a good idea of what to play, just because there's so many options to choose.
Like, what do you play? Because I want to play you one day. Like, find you.
I play a lot of Call of Duty. I play some Call of Duty. Play a lot of Destiny. Play a lot of Halo. If I have people to play with, I play Halo. Otherwise, so if you want to find me and get me, then we can set up a time to do some Halo. I'll try not to play before I play you. That way it's a little more even. I really like PvP, player versus player. I like multiplayer.
Or play before you play me. What?
I just so when I
practice.
Yeah. So when I like to play a lot of multiplayer games. Once I finish a story, I don't really replay a story a lot. So I go into the multiplayer. And for example, with Halo, when I don't play it for a while, I'm trash at the multiplayer. But then once I get back into the groove of it, I can kick some butt most of the time.
Are you anything like my sister? Like, we played Halo, whatever is she was the biggest cheat in GoldenEye. She'd like go and know where to find all the like. What was that one thing with Odd Job with or? She'd go.
No
She know exactly where to go. If you, it was probably like 15 years ago with GoldenEye at least. And she'd know, even in Halo, she'd know exactly where to go by minute. And it's like, couldn't even get close to her. She'd blow you to smithereens with the biggest gun possible.
Yes, unfortunately, that would be me. I've played a lot of Halo maps in my time, and unfortunately, that would be me.
Right, let's see if I can. That was probably a mistake to stop my point, but I wanted to like go there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So just find out a little bit. Just slow it down. I kind of just jumped right into it, which is what I'm striving to do a little more. Just get into more of a conversation and not less reading from a question list. But so far, I'm doing this without no list at all. I gave you the questions, so I'm getting better at conversation. And the more I do this, I've been doing this for 3 years. The first year I got some major compliments. You asked pretty good questions, and like, I don't let go to my head though, so I know I can do a lot better, and I always will do a lot better. But what I watched in this beginning of this year, and I was reaching out to a few guests, and I came across. I'm big on YouTube TED Talks.
Mm-hmm.
I came across this one TED Talk, and it was a 5-minute clip on finding your purpose. Let's see how much I can go off this by memory. I know the first question.
Right.
And there's 5 questions, a 5-part question. Okay. You kind of know. If you know the answer to them, you can easily find purpose of what you are doing. And the first one is, who are you and what do you do? And I see you have a little furry friend there.
I do. Yeah. That's what's making noises. My dog is playing with her, and that's what's growling in the background. Who am I and what do I do? Literal sense, I could explain. Could explain my job, but I don't know if it wants a literal sense. If it's finding your purpose, what I've always wanted to do in life was to. Sorry, 1 second. Puppy's whining in the background for something. Tilly. So if it's in the finding out what you want to do in your life sense, I've always wanted to be a motivational speaker. That's what I always wanted to be. And I like the idea of helping people. And it's when I looked into it a little bit more, obviously for when you think of a motivational speaker, you think of someone who's gone through trouble, like some sort of awful thing that's happened, or gone through something like that in life. And personally, I haven't really been through that many bad things, so in that sense I never really thought it'd be easy to be a motivational speaker, because what the heck do I have to motivate about? I mean, I haven't done anything super exciting in my life, and I haven't had anything super bad happen to me. So how do you take that little bit of stuff and, you know, might write a speech about it? So after I thought about that, then what I ended up doing concerning YouTube and stuff is I wrote, sorry, get out from under my desk. Is I made Life is Hard videos. And even though I haven't been through anything spectacularly awful, it doesn't mean that life isn't difficult in certain times. And so back when I made these, like the first one I did was fear. And it was just a short, like 10-minute video explaining that you can't, if you're afraid of something, depending on what it is, you should probably face it. And you can't let fear run your life in that sense. And so I hope to keep doing those things and helping people in that way. But I wouldn't say that's what I do, but that's what I'd want to do. To go over that question in the TED Talk.
That explains like why you're so excited when I mentioned Toastmasters, and why I mentioned that conference too. So if in your perfect, I'm going to go there first.
Sorry, the puppy is chewing up some paper towels. Yeah, go for it.
My puppy's sister gets she gets a hold of a towel, paper towel, anything, she won't let it go, and
yeah, right.
She's crazy. And then if anything's new in the house, she'll sit there and bark at it until it's gone. She doesn't like anything new.
Yeah, right.
Just like their little puppy dad my sister owns.
Okay, so what were you gonna say?
So I figured I've been struggling at how to ask these next few questions on this, and I think I finally, it more of a theoretical sense, like you said, if in a perfect world, say you found, they always say when speaker, whatever it is you do, speaking, motivational speaker, you have to find something you've struggled at in the past, and something that you figured out how to overcome that. Mm-hmm. Turning your mess into your message. I've always heard it put that way.
That's a great
and
saying.
Theoretically, if you were speaking, who would you do it for? Who would you speak to? Like they always say, like in the Zoom setting, pretend the camera is maybe your best friend, maybe your significant other, maybe you speak to that one person who you know who needs it the most. Who would you do the speaking for?
At this point in my life, it would probably be for people just a little bit younger than me. So I'm 26. But I had,
or maybe your 10-year-old self.
Yeah.
Or maybe not 10, maybe a little older, like 15 or just turning 18.
I had my first kid at, I think I was 22. So my first baby, and my wife was, I think, my girlfriend then, of course, I think was like 17, just about to turn 18. And so our lives got turned upside down pretty quickly because we're both super young, just had a baby. But I never knew my dad, and I wasn't going to leave her with the baby. So I stuck around, and turned out for the best because we have probably the best relationship I've ever had. And we're married 5 years now, been together 6. And I think the important thing is, and who I would talk to in those settings would be to the people a little bit younger who trying to figure out what the hell they're doing, because I'm still trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. And there's no easy answer. And I think when the people who need to hear that message need to hear it from people who are either their age or just a little bit older. Because when you hear it from people in their 50s or 60s, they're retired, you're like, well, yeah, that's easy for you to say. You're retired, you're getting, a pension, or you're getting Social Security. And like, obviously, you've already lived your life. It's easy for you to say it's already over. But to hear that from someone who's the exact same age as you, who's gone through the same things as you, you're like, wow, I guess it does get better. I guess it's not as bad as I think it is at this moment. And I think that's something that I personally could have used, because I've never really had any role models in my life. My role model is myself. I've always used myself to get to the place that I want to. And so I've never looked up to anybody. I've never had anybody to look up to in, a mentor sense. And I've always just got my hands dirty and did the work. And I think if people heard that, who are my age, especially if I was, in my early 20s hearing that, I'd probably be a lot more receptive to that and be a lot more outgoing and either work or focusing on being happy, anything like that. I think that would be the best message to get across.
Okay. What would be kind of your standard or expectation of yourself when you're speaking to this person? Like, what would you expect out of yourself
to say to them, or
as a standard? Like, you set a standard for yourself, or the question is that where I'm trying to come from is, what is the overall expectation?
what is the overall expectation? I'm just going to go.
The next question is going to be kind of that, but on the actual person you're speaking to. But the overall expectation of, or the result of what you wanted to do.
I guess the overall expectation of what I want to do is complete honesty. When you're dealing with life, you don't want, crap, I can't think of the word. You don't want to beat around the bush. You don't want people to sugarcoat things, because when you sugarcoat things and you beat around the bush, you don't get to the root of the problem, or you don't make the problem as big as it should be. And those are two issues. So the main thing, I think, could just be complete honesty and not overlook anything.
A lot of things. What always mentioned me when I was learning in this new technical world that I started 10 years ago. They always say, don't just go through the motions. Learn why something happens. Learn about it. Do the work to troubleshoot, figure stuff out. It's not about going through the motions.
That's important. You can ask my wife, you can ask anybody. I love asking questions. I'm a very curious person. I like to know how things work, and I question everything. I don't question it to the sense where I annoy other people, but I like to know how things work. I like to understand the world. And so not going through the motions is important, because when you wake up and you just do the same thing day in and day out, you're not living. You're just, like you said, just going through the motions. You're just existing. But when you sit up and you think, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? How is this benefiting me? Or ask other questions to start, like, how does my car work? how does my computer work? How do these phones work? That sort of thing. Get your brain thinking, and then you can expand your knowledge. And I think when you ask questions and you think about things, it makes you aware of more of what's going on. So
and
I think
even
that's
to take it even deeper, why do they work?
Exactly. I like to know the why.
The final of these purpose questions: what is the expected change by the person that you're giving a talk to or that you're giving a service to? Expected change of the person behavior. What do you want them to do? Like call to action kind of thing.
I want them to think. I want them, if I was to be a motivational speaker in any sort of sense, I just want the people to think, because
Thought provoking.
exactly. And it doesn't even have to be deep thought provoking. Just think about what you say, for example. I'm going to use, so this is actually a really good example of something that I notice a lot of people don't really do in friendships, relationships, anything like that. No one thinks about what the heck they're saying or what they're going to say.
Oh, preach. You're
Yeah,
preaching
right.
right now.
It's frustrating because when you actively, there's a thing where you act, you don't react, or something like that. I can't remember the exact saying, but if I say something mean to you, right, instead of just reacting, you sit and think for a second and think, why am I saying this mean thing to you? Did I have a bad day and I'm just pushing that off to you? And then when you think like that, you stop and you're like, okay, a mean response is not the best option here. A better option would be, hey, Darien, are you okay? Did you have a good day? Is something wrong? And my response would probably be, no, I had a really crappy day. Thank you for asking. I'm sorry I was a jerk to you. But no one does that. No one thinks about what they're going to say. They just say it. And
They
then
just they take it personal and then say what's on their mind.
exactly. No one thinks, and then no one listens. So my
He's mad at me. Like, what did I do? Like, it's all they make it about them, or
uh-huh.
yeah, it's like me making about something about myself. Like, what did I do to deserve that? Like,
Exactly.
instead of, I wonder where he's coming from, why, or what she went through to feel that way.
And so that's what I'd want, is to make people think more than just react. So think instead of react would probably be the best way to say that. Because once you start thinking about the why of things,
Can't
why are
really
you
see it, but I mean, what the headphones help you to do a little bit. Open this up a little bit.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, use
Listen.
this. You have two, I hear it a lot. You have 2 ears and one mouth. So you listen twice as much as you talk.
All right, you said it maybe once or twice before I saw in the digital world, but I'm going to ask it here again. What are you
Mhm.
excited about today
Well, boy, oh boy.
to get away from all that serious stuff?
You know, gonna have a baby soon. So it'll be my third child. It's gonna be a boy. And are we ready? No. You're never really ready for a kid. Ever. My
First,
daughter's
second, third,
this is
fourth.
my yeah, you're not ready. My daughter's
My
5. Go ahead.
yeah, my grandma. I was just saying my mom's part of including her 7 total siblings. So, and they were not ready for any of them. My grandma.
No, you're not. My daughter's 5, my son is 3, and then so I've been a dad for 5 years, and then my son is it gets easier because you know what to do, but you never really know what the baby's or kid is going to be like. And that's the biggest thing, is you can get ready for taking care of it, but you cannot get ready for the actual baby. So I'm excited for that. And then hopefully this week I'll be hearing about a supervisor position that I interviewed for at work. Hopefully they said they'll be done with the interviews hopefully on Wednesday. So I'm really hoping that by Friday they'll have an answer. But who knows? What are you excited about today?
day.
Yeah, think hard there. You have a good cup of coffee?
I'm excited about finding always new people to talk with. I love meeting people, even if it's always been in virtual form.
Right.
3 years ago, I said I started this, and my first one was with a director out in LA
Oh,
via
cool.
Skype. And I interviewed an actor who's been on TV shows. I just reached out. I got on, and I didn't even use this then. It was just through Instagram, and I actually had this lady on who helped me connect as well. So I had them
Nice.
both on, and then a little later his brother as well, Joey Lutheman. If you ever heard of him, you might want to go back. It's down in my episode list. He's been on some Disney Channel shows. I haven't seen too much of the Disney Channel, but he's part of a YouTube clip right now that he does with a few other Disney Channel stars from the past. But if you ever heard of him, that was actually a pretty good conversation I had with him. I actually he was a part of this one at the time Fox owned National Geographic that since then Disney took over, and it was 2 years ago. It had just come out when I was talking with him, and he played. It was a true story over the Black Sunday, April something in 2008, 2004, 2008. And well back there, it happened in Iraq, and they end up shooting it. And I'm from Texas, so I was kind of it's kind of hits close to home with this, but the set for this was on the Fort Hood Army base here, right near me, probably about an hour away from me in Texas. Okay. And I haven't it's called. May have to just look it up real quick.
What was that guy's name again? Joey. What was it?
Joey Lutheman.
Joey Lutheman.
Yeah, he'd probably come up in the first few hits.
He looks kind of familiar, but I don't know why.
Joey Lutheman, The Long Road Home.
I see it.
No. I'm just reading things now off Google. The Long Road Home is about the Marine Jonathan Rydell who he portrayed, and he actually had very little contact with him because the actual Jonathan Rydell was still overseas, so he couldn't really. He talked to him a few times, but he really couldn't do research into the role. So gotcha. He had the most struggle of all the actors on that project. But it opened some eyes, and my dad had been overseas working as a contractor with the Marines on the MRAP program, and the stories I heard from my dad, and then I listened into this it's 8-part miniseries, and and this all started when excited about meeting new people, talking to people. But this miniseries, 8-part miniseries about that horrific event, about a Marine platoon being ambushed in Iraq.
Right. Yeah, I looked it up. That's awesome that you talked to him about that, or that you just talked to him.
And I talked a few other things. I asked a few questions about him being in some soap operas, and that's true actually. So I got some air cleaning. Got to clear the air a little bit. I came out with some fake news, and he debunked it right away. So that's not true. That didn't happen.
Oh, cool. That is cool.
I got a little of that too. That's how you figure out these things. You ask and talked with his brother, who's big into making music. He creates music, and that they recently teamed up with something and on a project they both worked on together too.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was all over Instagram. Instagram would help me make that connection to, maybe you should see if Joey can reach out to his mom, who does his PR and everything, has a PR company.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I'm excited always I have two other that I was trying to book for the last 5 months, and a couple of them they've been busy. They got busy, understandably, and now we're coming back around. So I'm excited to have a few other people to talk to as well. Tomorrow and the next day. After this, so got a little things flowing.
Good.
I need to pick up my YouTube channel a little more. I need to produce clips on my purpose. I asked you about your purpose. My purpose is to help people in this digital world even more than ever now, because I know a lot of people are maybe, and especially the yellow. So I probably have to focus on Facebook a lot, because that's where my audience would be actually.
Right.
If I'm on Instagram, people are on Instagram. Everyone's on Instagram. I know that, but I wouldn't necessarily. People have been going to TikTok. I don't know if I necessarily want to go to TikTok right now, but that's the younger crowd, and they'll probably be like, "Well, why are you telling me this?"
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever try to get into TikTok.
But with my purpose, and Facebook would probably be the best way for me to reach out. I just have to put myself out there way more and just do it. So excited part, we covered what we're excited about. Learning about you about 45 minutes in. But
something like that.
Jumping into conversation, which I have to do more. What is your true passion? Video editing, I suppose, but I assume. But and when did you realize your passion?
I'd say it's one of my passions for sure. I've always enjoyed the process of making videos. I've always enjoyed recording them and editing them and then publishing them. My issue came from the publicity side of it. I could not handle the idea that I spent, a couple hours working on something and put it out there and nothing came of it, which is, I don't know if the right word for that is shallow or what, but it's just, I worked on something. I wanted people to watch it because I was excited about it, and no one did. And I struggled with that for the longest time until actually like a month and a half. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? I love editing the videos. So let's just see if I can do it for other people. So that's when I made the choice of, I'm actually going to talk to people and try to edit for them and do that sort of thing, because I enjoy creating it. I just can't handle having a YouTube of myself, but I like making it for other people. So that is a win-win. And then, of course, my other passion is just, I like making people happy, which is very broad, I know, but that's why I started YouTube in the first place. Was I watched other YouTubers and they made me happy and helped me through some tough times, and I wanted to do the same. So that was why I started.
Something you said, I could probably go after whatever, and you're like, you can go a million ways. What you said, you can't stand doing a YouTube for yourself or
Mm-hmm.
of yourself, like you don't
No, it's
being on camera kind of thing.
no,
Or
no, 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 no. That wasn't part of it. It was I couldn't stand making the content, putting it on YouTube, and seeing no one watch it, which might sound dumb or shallow. I think that's the right word for that. But I loved making it. I loved doing it, and I wanted people to watch it, but they didn't. And I took it personally. So that's where the issue was, where I took it personally. I was like, well, shoot, am I doing something wrong? Do people not like me? What can I do to make this better? But I I don't have the time nor the resources to really invest in YouTube. And I just kept beating myself up for something that, I'm a fish on YouTube. I'm a fish with like a million other fish going around. So the idea that someone isn't watching me is really not that surprising, because there's a million other people to choose from. So in that broad sense, I shouldn't take it personally, but I did. So that's what I meant. I'm 100% fine with being on camera, 100% fine with recording and doing everything. It's just when I try to do it for myself, I take my work very seriously. And when I don't see results from my work, I take it very personally.
it's funny, when I was going through college and I was getting in on the be directing in the newscast, behind the scenes, keyword there,
Mm-hmm.
or operating the camera behind the scenes. I'm gonna keep saying that a lot. I branded myself as a behind the scenes kind of guy. It's like what I do is not on camera. I never envisioned myself in front of a camera on a news desk. Not that I necessarily didn't want to do it. I loved the behind the scenes stuff. I love creating
Right.
everything. I loved getting there 3 hours before, ingesting all the content ready to play our video packages, and just
Mm-hmm.
preferably it would have been nice to have someone else who was operating that day to be there, but no one wanted to show up and do all that. So I was like the only one committed. I sadly, like, I'm not like bragging, but I end up being that go-to guy. Like, Thomas knows how to do this in the studio. Well, there's a reason why I knew how to do it, because I was there. I put myself there. You were out partying or
Yeah.
doing the college thing and going out to bars the night before,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the morning. And what were we talking about?
We're talking about
Passion.
yeah, it was what was my passion.
And I was going somewhere with that too.
It's all right. I enjoy yeah, I enjoyed making the YouTube videos, and I enjoyed doing everything. And like I said before,
Oh yeah, and I'd say that to get to, after doing the editing, and I've been now working 10 years now with the Fox RSN, where at the time Fox Sports was legit, and now it's they kind of we broke away from that, and we're still kind of breaking away from the brand. We're still labeled with their brand, but working 10 years in that, and seeing and working as part in the studio production, and working with one network after getting hired full time this last year. And I'm trying to pinpoint what exactly made me change on this thought, but On Toastmasters, I joined Toastmasters in 2013, and that, along with all this other stuff I'm doing, my 10-year-old self would fall to the ground hearing myself say this, that I would not turn down a opportunity to give a speech. In fact, we have 5 to 7 minute speeches. To the beginning speakers, that would be like an eternity for them. I'm sitting here saying that's way too short. It's like 5 to 7 minutes. I was constantly, we have these timing lights, green, yellow, red, red. If you hit that, you're about to go over. Like, I constantly would get the red a bunch of times. Like, I don't have enough time in this 5 to 7. So I love the inspirational speeches because you get 8 to 10 minutes.
Right.
But I wouldn't turn down, if say, hey, you want to go do this, sit behind a desk or do a camera spot. I wouldn't turn it down. I wouldn't ask for it, but I wouldn't turn that down.
Right.
My 36-year-old self now, my 10-year-old would be shaking in his boots.
Yeah. No, I'm there with you. Public speaking is hard. And speaking in any sort of setting where people are going to watch you is difficult. So, yeah, I empathize 100% on that.
But the thing that makes that so much easier to think about now, it's harder when you have nothing to give or say. But if you have something to say and you're prepared, you know what it is you want, then you can say it. And my biggest thing was not actually the people looking at me. It's just I don't know what to say next. And that's
right.
what my biggest thing was in speech class. And
speeches are hard like that, and you definitely don't want any dead air and sitting there and thinking like, oh man, these people are watching me, what am I going to say next?
But a good thing, and maybe for your motivational path, you may want to tune, if you haven't, instead of writing out a script or an outline. But what I've come to learn from things, because writing out a script means you memorize, you're reading something, it's prepared, it's not, be more off the cuff. And how you do that, and what I've been coming around myself, just come up with 3 points. You don't have to come up with the intro will come up with itself once you have the body, the 3 points or 4 points. Say, and then you can say, I'm going to have these 4 points to talk about. And then you have them pretty much hooked for those 4 points.
That's smart.
And you just have 4 talking points, and you know what you're going to talk about on those talking points.
That's smart.
And you just 1 word, 2 words, and then you probably can't stop yourself. So I have a pretty good conversation here. We probably need to get back on maybe in a month or so to talk more, but I didn't even really touch on the ice with a lot of stuff, but we just had a good conversation for sure. But I always like to ask this, and mainly because my inspiration for the podcast, School of Greatness, what are you grateful for? It's always good to have gratitude.
Not to sound cheesy, and I kind of say that because she might be listening. Well, I'm very thankful for the fact that I'm with someone that supports me and, like I said earlier, my video games, because people I've been with in the past, video games, not really a good thing, not really something to talk about or excited about or anything like that. And to me, it's my life. Like, it's having my Xbox and everything, it's very important to me. So being able to be with someone, be married to someone that supports that is what I'm grateful for. And the fact that our relationship started with an accident and it blossomed into something that's an actual, like, wonderful, loving relationship. We're one in a million. I mean, we didn't mean to have a baby, but we did. And then usually when that happens, the two people split up. But we stuck together, and that was probably the best choice either of us ever could have made. So that is what I'm grateful for, and always will be grateful for that.
I hear that a lot. Like the first one is sometimes my cousin. He was technically he was the second one born, and he was the accident. They
Yeah.
always joke about. And
We,
he came 12 years behind too.
oh gosh. Yeah, we didn't. The biggest thing about that too is we didn't really know each other too well before. So we were lucky. It definitely does not happen often.
A few others and have get some wrap ups here, and then maybe maybe not a week, but like a month again, and just
Yeah.
have like make this an ongoing thing actually, because you seem like a very good just conversational
Oh,
starter type
Thomas,
person, and
you have no idea, my friend.
there's
I
so
can
much
make you
more.
talk your ear off. I can talk your ear off. I can keep asking you question after question, and you'll be talking for like 2 hours, and you'll be like, "What the heck just happened?" So yeah.
See, picks from one of these questions, and a lot of these you saw the questions too.
I should pull that up.
What question of you saw did you like that was on there?
Well, let me look.
That's a different look that I didn't actually ask anyone.
Um, give me one second.
Let the guest choose the question. Almost Russian roulette, and we could ask each other. Make it a game.
What's harder, getting started or keeping up? When was your passion realized? What is one of your biggest achievements? Who inspires you? Scariest, saddest, happiest, funniest moments? What would your parents say if they had a part on the project? You know, that's an interesting one. I don't really think I would have an interesting answer, but I like that question. Okay, so what would you have done differently and why? So I like that one because I like thinking about that sort of stuff. And absolutely 100%, I would have focused on YouTube way more when it first started. That's what I would have done differently. Because when YouTube first started, the people who stuck with it in the beginning and who kept working and changing and everything, like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, if you've ever heard of him, and then the other content creators that aren't just like Jenna Marbles, if you've heard of her. She didn't really do gaming in the beginning. All these people, they started in the beginning and then just kept working and got huge. So that's what I would do differently. 100%.
I was saying that myself, like, and I started thinking of this one. It's like, oh, YouTube started these so many. Like, why are we just doing this now? But there's no time like the now to. Like, is it too late to get started on YouTube? No, but you have started YouTube. There's a good chance you could have failed a bomb on, and maybe it would have been early for me, but being especially 10 years ago when I knew what I do at age 26, 10 years ago, when I knew going into college, and I was going into mass communication, broadcast production, start that YouTube. I kind of did, but it was more like it's just like real work kind of things. I wanted to like upload some things I have done, not really content creation for to give value to people. But 10 years ago, when I knew, like, that would have been probably an opportune time for me to start
Right.
then. But YouTube is just now starting to kick off, especially the whole, and I've seen some things working in the satellite world. I worked in a satellite master control facility for the network, and satellite's not going to be around forever. It's going to be how they receive video transmissions. It's going to be internet transmissions. It's going to be via the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's changing. The production itself isn't going to change. They're still going to be doing all this stuff, but the distribution is changing. And they become since then, and a lot of these, and the new parent company that took us over is going to focus on this too. It's called direct to consumer. You probably heard of this a little bit as well, where it's
A little
not
bit.
going to cable packages. It's going to be more like individual stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And in
yeah.
an app, you want sports, you're just going to pay for sports
Mm-hmm.
instead, like everything else. The only thing left on cable, like the why I would get cable, it would be for sports, because every sports is mainly on cable. But
Right.
and I talk that way because I've been in sports, and we've been under those cable packages.
Right.
See if there's one more thing, and kind of asked that already. Let's see. Let's just go into where, and it could be hangout, like virtual meetup or gaming. Where's your favorite place to hang out in the internet?
Um, I don't have one. I like to hang out where the people are, where my friends are. So wherever they are is where I want to hang out. So if I'm not playing a game with my friends, then at home, because that's where my family is. But if my friends are on the PC, then I want to hang out on the PC. So it all depends on where my peeps are at.
All right, these questions you don't know about. This is a little thought provoking. What do you want to learn from someone who has seen who has seen success multiple times?
What do I want to see from someone who has seen success multiple times?
What do you want to learn?
Oh, what do I want to learn?
Who do you want to learn from? Or what's the next thing you need to learn?
I don't really have anyone that I look up to like that. And what I mean is there's not really many people that I know or know of that I guess I'd really want to learn from. It's just, just trying to think of what an example of that would be. For example, I like a couple actors. But There's nothing really to learn from them because I don't want to be an actor. So it's just every person that is successful has just, I know, has worked hard and has come up with their own personal ways of achieving that success. So in my view, there's not really many people that I look at that I want to learn from just because I don't see anything to gain from it, which I like to learn things just from everyday people. From I I honestly don't know how to answer that question. I don't, because I don't. I've never really thought about it. I've never really tried to find someone to learn from. There's one person who I kind of looked up to at work, um, and that's just because he is successful at my job. But the more I thought about it, the more I worked, I'm just left that thought alone. So I don't really know how to answer that.
Is there a gamer or like a YouTube? Considering some of your answers from the past, maybe I have this question answered already. But is there like a gamer or someone on YouTube or a YouTube channel that you said, that's interesting. How do they do that? And then try to do it better
No,
or in your own way.
no, because I no, I never thought of that. I mean, the people I follow, the people I look at, there's not really anything that they do that I don't know how to do. Um, and what I mean is that I know how to do it. That doesn't mean that I'm good at it. Like Markiplier, for example, really famous YouTuber. He's hilarious. He's great. He has a great editor. He does all these wonderful things. And I know pretty much everything that he does for the most part, but he's that's just him. It's his personality, it's his ability, it's his years of creating who he is. And that's not really something I can learn from because it's taken him like 10 years or something to reach his level. And you can't really take a snippet from that really well and learn from that because it's accumulative. So I don't really have anyone that I've thought about or looked at and been like, I could probably do that better. Uh, yeah, I never thought about that.
Last question. Let's
Okay,
see. And
last question.
actually, there's one other question. I don't know why
Oh
it's not
no, you already
listed
said
in
last
here.
question. I'm as soon as we get off, I'm probably gonna go to bed in like 30 minutes, dude.
So I'd like to ask why you think film is important, and then I want to get into what I call a perfect ending.
Ooh. I'm excited to find out what your perfect ending is. That sounds interesting. Um, well, like I said before, film, which I'm going to mainly talk about YouTube because that's mainly what I watch. I guess you can consider it film because it kind of is. Um, it's it's thought provoking. It makes you happy, makes you sad. It gives you emotions when you need them. I've watched a lot of YouTubers when I'm having a really crappy day, and they make me laugh. They make me happy. There's not really many other things that can do that so fast. I mean, if you like nature, you can go outside and take a walk, but will that make you laugh? Probably not. Will that make you smile? Maybe. But then you go back inside and you're just like, the walk's over. But when you're watching something like a comedy special, a YouTube video, a thriller movie that you really, really like, it can give you a feeling that makes life a little bit brighter, even if it's just for that hour or something. And that's why I think it's important. That's why I like it. That's why I wanted to make YouTube videos, was to make someone staring at their phone, make them go, that's really funny. That's good. That's good. I like that. And then just make them feel good. That's why I want to do that. That's why it's important. And it's entertainment. And a life without entertainment sounds really boring.
I did have
Okay, what's your perfect ending?
So this was inspiration, again, coming from the original. Lewis always ends his shows on his three truths,
Okay.
three lessons on your last day on. It's a hypothetical question. Your last day on Earth, 100 years from now, everything you've done, created, has to be erased from the world, but you're left with three things: a pen and paper, write down your three truths. My thing on this perfect ending is kind of the same concept. 100 years hypothetically down the road, and you're sitting in your perfect, in your mind, the perfect life, and knowing that it's your last day. Where do you see that place to be? Who are you with? Who's around? What have you done? Like, describe. And it's kind of just, I want it to be like thought provoking and creative at the same time, kind of ending to a hypothetical story of yours.
My perfect ending would be where I grew up. So there's an island called Whidbey Island off the coast of Seattle, Washington. And that's where I grew up a little bit before we moved up here to Alaska. And we lived in a really old, rundown, crappy farmhouse, but I loved that place. And I still think of it very, very fondly. So really the best ending to my story, per se, my life, would be to be with my wife at that house, because I miss it. I love it. I miss it. And that would be the perfect ending, would be to be there.
And just ask one little housekeeping thing. Where can people, anyone who would be listening, where could people say reach out to you?
I'm on Twitter at Darien Cooke, DariencOoke, at Darien Cooke, and my Facebook, which I have no idea how I'd share my Facebook page.
Your title. Your title
video
on your Facebook page is, I like the way you put that, though.
Yeah, video editing by Darien. I couldn't think of something fun, so I was just like, I'll just say what it literally is: video editing by Darien. That's my Facebook, and then
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and then you can search me on YouTube. I think it's just Darien on YouTube, and I have a really funny, stupid face that I made. So, just Darien.
It's not stupid. It's you.
No, I was just,
someone I used to talk with. Don't ever call yourself an idiot like that. Like, it's not even cool to say like you're not stupid. You're not an idiot. Like, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, it's just I'm making a silly face, and that's what you'll find. So you'll see
Silly face is good.
My face is like this.
I love it. I love it. If it got stuck that way, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, man. That was a good, perfect ending.
So, like, what do you say? Like, once a month we do this kind of thing. And if you want any of this, and we're still recording too, but like, until I didn't really essentially stop it. But if you want anything like this, you're free to use. if you want anything to share
Okay.
or have natively for yourself. I mean, if you don't, I'm not offended either way. I'm not whatever.
No
If you
problem.
want something, ask, and you shall
Okay.
receive.
Sounds good. Thank you. So yeah, once a month or something like that sounds good. The next couple months are going to be hectic though. So, just because, baby. So
That's
I'm not
exciting.
gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna make any plans for the next couple months, anything like that.
Go
Um,
with it, embrace it.
mhm. Yep. So,
You've been through it before. You know what's happening. You
uh-huh.
go do it.
Know what's going on. So yeah, we're waiting. Should be her due date is the 31st. And realistically, he can come anytime right now. So, but all right,
All
man.
right, man. Thanks for
That was a good chat.
doing this
Of course. Thanks
conversation.
for having me.
It was fun.